It would seem that Carrick's and Quincy have relinquished custody over Marby. Marby, that means I get you all to myself for the
Only
next
on
half an
weekends.
hour. And I'll have you know that I got a bit of Marby yesterday, Carrick. You were paying attention. Managed to bend the rules a little bit.
Basically the weekend.
Basically the weekend, to be honest. Friday evening, right? It's weekend that started.
Yeah.
But we are onto the Rift, and the first thing that's really standing out to me is when I look at Team Secret's draft, I'm seeing a Gwen, I am seeing a Ryze, I'm seeing a Kai'Sa, 3 champions that can be absolute monsters once we do eventually get to that late game, if we get to the late game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where Eddie's going to go. I imagine most likely we just see the flat Eddie carry Kraken Slayer build, because otherwise that might just be leaning a little bit too much into the APs on the side of Team Secret. So that will reduce the sort of poke options and thus make GAMs sort of get to position first and control these zones much easier, because up against the poke of AP Kai'Sa, maybe you can actually make it all fall apart. There's not a really strong front line to just eat these, eat those Prey Seekers. But now, as is, B, will they be a good set player? Doesn't look like it.
We need to get cameras
Tisk.
on B set. And just to clarify for any of you who are watching and don't know what a good set is, it means you have to flash engage level 1. Because you run Hex Flash on set, so you still got that flash available to exert some pressure. So you see Hero trying to exert some of that pressure onto Kiaya. And now Levi working his way in. And Hero in a 1v2 play. Going to try to dash away. Shock Blast will land. But is Hero at safety? He's on the wrong side of the map. But Levi and Kiaya will not chase any further.
Yeah, don't really want to waste the time chasing Hero, where Levi can just try and get this invade and try and make up for what Penguin is doing on the other side of the map. Vertical jungling sort of taking place. And this should be nice for Team Secret, as they're not in a great matchup in the 2v2, but with this jungler constantly lurking on the bot side, that should defend their, make them a little more happy to push more aggressively.
So Hero, after being forced to recall in GAM's jungle, he actually teleported to his inner tower and then worked his way to contest Levi, stealing away Penguin's blue buff. He was unsuccessful in the process, so Levi still got the blue buff, makes his way to the scuttle. So we've got, I want to say, Suedo vertical jungling coming through from our 2 junglers of Penguin and Levi.
Yeah, it has pushed him sort of away from the Gromp and the Wolves, so there was an opportunity for Penguin to sort of walk up in and just try and contest those, and arguably that might have been more correct, because since the nerfs, these first Scuttle Crabs aren't actually worth all that much. Probably grabbing that Gromp is a little bit better. Plus, you've already built up this pressure on this bot lane. Just send them to take the crab off the map from Levi, and you would come out with a massive jungle advantage. But they don't read that. They don't try and push their advantage on this early power Lee Sin. And Levi's going to be maybe a camp behind, but fairly comfortable. He still has these Raptors to return to. So actually, it all evens out quite nicely.
Still haven't seen any real ganks. We saw Levi looking towards that top side to get the play onto Hero, but Hero was able to walk out of it. And for now, GAM just happy to sit back. I do want to bring something up, because we heard the mention and the thought, which makes a lot of sense in the current state of the game of the AP Kai'Sa. But surely with Team Secret having an AP top and AP mid, surely Eddie can't also go AP.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting. I was definitely expecting much more of the focus towards Kraken Slayer. Maybe just I don't know. I think this is a bit of a mistake. There's not like a huge tanky character, so the damage profile shouldn't be too much of an issue, but it does mean just straight up everyone on GAM should be instantly buying Merc treads rather, and walking away quite comfortably. And if B wants to go for something like a Locket to just bolster the MR even more, it can potentially hurt Team Secret a little bit.
Also, Penguin hasn't been able to find many plays so far, which I feel is a little bit disappointing. And yes, we're still in the early stages of the game, but you do have that potential gank setup courtesy of Zhu Hao's Nautilus. Artifact has the Rune Prison on a Carti, and I would at the very least like to see some of these summoners being invested as we get an engage on the bottom side. Facebreaker into the Blade Caller, and B flashes with a Haymaker to pick up the kill onto Zhu Hao. and it is first blood going the way of the GAM bot lane.
Yeah, so that was dreadful. Sure, your jungler was doing the dragon, and so I don't think the intent was necessarily to maybe get a full fight, just keep pressure on, keep them away from that river. But yeah, you definitely don't win these early trades, and yeah, your jungler wasn't going to help because they were doing dragons. So you've just given over a free first blood. Very, very poor decision making coming out of the side of T-Secret. They do, and that will undo the small CS lead that was building up for them. And yeah, it just looks like
Eddie doesn't get any damage down onto Style in that fight.
Yeah, it looks like the goal was just sort of the bit of a poke and back off, but good play from B, just walking in saying you've set yourself up amongst all these minions. Eddie's not too short range to actually engage onto the AD carry who took all the brunt of the damage, and you're a Nautilus who's already blown his aftershock. You are now a really squishy fella, so I'm gonna just break your face. And he breaks his face.
Broke his face, he broke his
That's why he wears the helmet, so you don't see his broken face.
I mean, you can see from those eyes. I mean, just look at those red eyes. It's a signal of a broken face. Everyone knows that. Now, I'll be honest, that aggression from Juhao is what I would have liked to see, but when Penguin was there as well. And it was funny or the irony of the fact that we got that play after I mentioned Penguin's lack of aggression so far. Also on the top side, Kiaya building himself up a very nice and comfortable CS lead. We've also got Rift Herald spawning in a minute or so. And that will presumably be the focus for Levi, considering that he's got this top lane map control.
Yeah, it was definitely just the overreach, and there's another engage going on.
This time we get some damage onto Style from Eddie, and this time Team Secret will get the kill onto B. That's how that play is supposed to go, say Eddie and Juhao.
And this time, Eddie's actually able to contribute and rain damage down onto Style instead of just sort of having those being completely isolated. And what we're gonna just see here. How's it do it? Good. Starts up the engage, and B has to run in. He's just a little bit slow looking for this lineup, but the damage gets done too early. The burst comes out of Kai'Sa very quickly. But now on the top side, GAM using this pressure, but Artifact here first.
Run warp comes through. This is a 2v2. The focus gets turned instantly onto Levi, who loses so much health running for his life, but Artifact will pick up the kill. And Hero wants to do a bit of extra damage onto Kia's health bar and does exactly that. Now we've got the play on the bottom side. Penguin looking for Carti. The Chaos Storm has been dropped down, but Eddie is just free firing. The Dredge line locks Carti in place, and Penguin will take the spoils of war.
Yeah, across the map, it's a 1-for-1, but the Rift Herald is being picked up by Style right now, and they should be able to convert this very quickly into a top tower once that is picked up, and Hero does manage to get away, so it all works out quite nicely for the side of GAM. Levi's going to walk in, and he's respawned so he can secure it and make sure he can move this around the map much more effectively, but it's a very good, it's a nice collapse, and they realize, oh, Levi, you are just not in the right spot, and we can dump all the burst from this needlework into you, and there's very little Kiai can do in sort of backing up this 2v1 of fairly tanky members.
Artifact. Yeah, maybe that wasn't too smart, especially as well. We've been praising Artifact recently. He's been looking so solid, and coming off that winter split where he was essentially just left in the gutter by SBTC. He got 1 or 2 series where he played well, but SBTC didn't, is how I like to look at those series. And Artifact got benched. Now he's got his full-time starting spot again, albeit on a different team. He's been playing well, but that mistake was uncharacteristic of his spring split performances so far.
It definitely just sort of not reading the map and saying, yeah, I can just walk straight back down the river, not reading that the bot lane has disappeared, and so walks just straight into it. And it's tough to see, but he's picked up for himself the blue buff and can just sort of try and keep shoving in Carti, wait for this realm warp to come back up and make more moves around the map, coming up to a pretty okay lead for himself. And Hero?
Oh, Hero takes a bit of damage. still has that needlework available. This might be a bit aggressive because you're in a 1v2. Levi joining into the fray. Hero trying to run, hoping that the needlework does enough to slow Kiaya and Levi, and it does exactly that. But Levi has the Rift Tower. That can be dropped down in the top lane, but you don't even need it because the tower is so low. You can just pick up these plates and maybe pick up first tower as well.
Yeah, they might not quite have the wave to take it without the Herald. No, that should be fine. But yeah, kind of just unfortunate timing for Hero. Or probably could have taken that 1v1 relatively comfortably, but no, Levi was just in the right position to punish. And across the map, it's going to be traded for this Dragon, and Penguin has been doing a good job keeping on top of these. And this Mount Drake coming in will be good for them. But once again, if we look at the fact that Eddie is going for this AP Kaiser, it can spell disaster if GAM starts to stack these up, because they only need that one AP item to start getting really tanky against that single damage profile, and it might come back to bite them a little bit.
I want to talk a little bit about item choices. We haven't had a lot of items so far, so there's very little to bring up. Marby, can you guess which item decision I'm going to highlight here?
Possibly probably the early winged moonplate going more towards the dead mounts for B. That seems like the only one that seems out of ordinary.
It's not. We're going to go through this play first. Rift Child going to crash in, picks up a couple of tower plates for GAM. But what I do want to bring up, it is B, but it's actually the Boots of Swiftness. I was expecting plated steel caps, I think, or the Merc Treads that we mentioned earlier, if Eddie was to go AP, but it doesn't seem that Eddie is going that route.
But yeah, look, yeah, I think the theory behind them is just simply how early he got the gold and just wants to try and push the roam around the map. In theory, he's going to be building quite tanky anyway. Might fall into something along the lines of the wing Force of Nature. That's the one. The move speed item tank MR. But yeah, he's definitely sort of found himself, wants to just try and just stack up this movement speed and be everywhere on the map at once, which has sort of been B's wheelhouse for the split. He's just fantastic on these roam timings, and he can try and make things happen. Hasn't been super successful, only really that one move towards the top lane and punishing Artifact's misstep, but we can see him just everywhere.
Well, we're seeing Artifact everywhere. Specifically with everywhere, we mean top lane, because Artifact has been looking top a lot. Penguin looks at that top lane as well and delivers Kiai on a platter for Hero. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Levi was able to get a kill onto Eddie, and that's after Eddie and Juhao, presumably back fairly far off Kati, just get solo-boloed by Artifact, who made his way to the top lane, then walked back down to the mid lane and picked up the kill. So overall, is 2 kills for 1 for Team Secret.
Artifact almost kind of needing to find that pickup, because that top lane he was not able to get involved in. And he lost a lot of plate gold to Cardi, as the Rift Herald appears to have been dropped in there at some point during a roam. So Cardi was able to find a decent amount of gold back on these plates. You can see he's managed to pick up his mythic item first with the Leandries, looking to try and hit through this relatively tanky lineup. But yeah, Eddie just trying to contest the wave
and gave up.
Yeah, that's correct. Just give up. Don't bother saving your AD carry. They don't deserve it. And yeah, good play out of Artifact, catching an overextended Cardi and running them down.
Well, there you go. Team Secret, they've got more kills than GAM, but here's a big but. It's a 3k gold advantage to GAM. That's because they've got the first tower, and on top of the first tower, they've got a second tower as well. They got the Rift Tower, they got lots of plates, and sure, Team Secret have been able to get the first 2 Drakes of the game. If they can get that third Drake, that does offer them a bit of a win condition, a bit of a comeback condition, if they can get that Mountain Soul.
Yeah, it means they can be much more aggressive and sort of taking these fights if they can pick up these shields from the Soul and not worry as much about the poke coming in from Kiara and Style. So they are going to make this move onto this Rift Herald a minute before the Drake spawns, so they will probably end up having to concede pressure on that objective itself. Though, if Artifact and Juha can keep this safe or find a pick of their own even, no, they won't have to worry too much about it, because GAM hasn't really put down the wards and swept it out quite yet, so still options for Team Secret to push through and make aggressive plays in.
The other thing to mention as well with regards to the Drake is that the only player on the game right now with teleport available is Hero. So if Hero does go to match Kiaya or Kati in a side lane, it's going to be very difficult for either of them to match his rotation towards that Drake. As GAM pick up another tower, the final outer tower of Secret has fallen. Hero has already arrived for this play. Who cares about having the teleport plays when all 5 members are already in the surrounding bottom side river?
Yeah, it's GAM with good position, but this Rift Herald can sort of can force them to sort of respond towards mid lane. But they still have this track into the... Oh, never mind, fight's done.
It took on Faithbreak and the showstopper is on Juju. What is that going to do? B's just going to get absolutely clapped by Eddie. In goes Penguin, finds a kick on Kiaya, the depth charger, chasing, will find the knockup as Kati 4-0 picking up the kill. Out comes the Feather Storm from Style, and GAM turn the fight back around. It's a double kill for Zhu, but he will fall. 3 kills for 2, GAM come out on top. And GAM surely should be able to get the Drake Kiaya, just daring Penguin to step forward into a shock blast to the face. GAM not even looking for the Drake, they're just going to look to push in this way first, and then after that, the Drake will be a secondary thought as Penguin very low. Does Penguin turn it around? Yes, he does! And Penguin this time picks up the solo bolo onto the solo bolo master himself.
Yeah, managing to land that execute just in time before Kiaya can get the burst out, but it is overall a 1 fight from GAM. It's fairly even across the board. It's 3 for 3, but the Dragon is the prize. That gets picked up. The mid lane tower as well falls for the side of Team Secret. So that's 3 towers. That's a Dragon stopping the stacking going on. And it starts off pretty good for Team Secret as they manage to really interrupt what B is trying to do. Kind of drag him out of the fight without putting anything into it. But it gets Eddie's ultimate. And that kind of ends up saving the play because he can't be quite as aggressive, and he just walks into the storm. Oh, Eddie.
Both storms, the Feather Storm and the Chaos Storm.
Yeah, at least the Feather Storm had to come out and was aimed at him. He just walks it. Oh, man. Okay. It started so well, but alas.
I do have to agree, using the Killer Instinct a bit preemptively to try to get the kill onto B may not have been the wisest choice from Eddie. And we talked about Artifact, we talked about how Artifact has been a shining light for Team Secret, how he's been looking really good this play, and then he made that mistake. Eddie also, he's been a very solid member for Team Secret. I know there was at least anyway some discussion amongst the analysts in the VCS English about how good is Eddie? Maybe he's just alright, but I personally think he's been playing very well so far this split. But maybe this game there's been a couple of mistakes, a couple of chinks in the armor.
Yeah, a bit of a off game from Eddie, I think overall, considering his average split performance. But I don't think it's enough to definitely write him off at all. He's just comfortably he's done okay, but yeah, some mistakes like just walking into the storm, not being able to make that game happen, looks a little bit like maybe it's just not quite as comfortable on the Kai'Sa as we hoped, which is why he's falling back to sort of the AP build where you can just sort of stand right back. He has like the slightly more distance oriented carries of Xayah and Jinx where you can just sort of hang back a little bit with the lethality of Jinx and the rockets coming through. But now Levi's just lurking in this jungle. They've got strong push off these 2 lanes to GAM, but it looks like the option is to try and kill Kiaya from Penguin, but B is in position.
Yeah, Penguin coming in from behind. This is going to be a 2v2, but here's the thing. Hero is already very low, down to a few hundred health. Well, actually, just about 1 or 2 health, running for his life. There's going to be another shock blast. No, never mind. B on the Jays. Oh, he drops down the Ignite. That is dirty, B.
The disrespect, Ignite, but here comes the counterplay from Artifact.
Yeah, Rune Prison is going to lock B down in place. Penguin chasing onto Kiaya, but Kiaya wants his revenge. Killer Instinct comes through, and Kiaya will not get the chance to finish off the Antarctic creature. But meanwhile, GAM's like, hey, You guys are on the bottom side. We're just going to start off Baron. Juho is here. Guys, there's a Baron being started. Where's my team? The team
Come on,
can't.
Juho. Jungler instinct, steal the Baron. No,
he drops down the depth charge. He drops down the dredge line. Team Secret are making their way in, but there is no killer instinct available anymore. Artifact is able to find one as the Blade Caller does not lock anyone down in place. B is on the side, canting down to half health. Heartseeker comes.
And Levi can reset.
Levi not able to find a kill. Levi not able to find the reset, and only 2 members of GAM will stay alive. Only 2 members of GAM with a Baron buff.
Yeah, it looked pretty good, but Juho is actually able to. It looked a little bit silly with the death charge coming through, but it was enough time for Team Secret to cross the map. They managed to get in. Artifact, I believe, Artifact able to pick up and zoom straight through the entire team and catch up, kill style, set up Levi to be to try and make the desperate play to kill Juho and start popping off on the resets, but it doesn't happen. So it's Baron in the pocket of Kati and B. So this gives them a couple of options, but being on a Victor, it makes the side lane a little bit harder to play. So you can't really spread the Baron out across these 2 lanes as you'd ideally like. So it's probably just gonna end up stalling out, not really amounting to all that much. Just really the gold from the Baron itself.
Now, GAM are ahead. Let's not get that wrong. There is still a 4k gold advantage, but for how much longer? Teleport coming through. The Flash Dredge line doesn't land, but the CC does. And the killer instinct, it is certainly a killer instinct from Eddie, who picks up the kill. And what I was trying to say is the fact that I brought up this point at the start of this game. The fact that Team Secret, they've got a Gwen, they've got a Ryze, they've got a Kai'Sa, all hard scaling champions that will be monsters in the late game. Are we getting closer and closer to that point, Marby, where Team Secret are getting to that exceptionally strong late game phase?
I feel that there's more I don't know. I feel like they've found some very strong picks, but the late game doesn't really seem out of the realm of. Doesn't seem like a surefire win. Jace and Victor, of course, can be absolute menaces in the late game, as well as the Viego. But it is a dragon pickup that is sole point. But they do have this Baron, which means they can actually convert this rotation into mid very well for side of GAM and can actually capitalize on it. So this Baron getting out a lot more than I thought it was in the initial after the initial Baron play.
But Penguin's looking for the flank, actually spotted out, he lands a Sonic Wave, Dredge line comes through, but Levi will go gold, and the fight takes a temporary hiatus, but this time Hero is on the flank, he drops down the needlework, trying to buy time, the killer instinct still available, who is the focus on? Hero's just doing all the work right now, in a 1v4, goes over the wall, the Heartbreaker comes through, and Levi's able to find 1 kill, Dredge line doesn't find anyone, Penguin on the run, Levi hunting down for the kill, but Penguin's going to be able to find the blast gun, and Penguin will be able to get out to safety, the fight just has 1 kill, and that went the way of GAM as Hero fell, and now GAM continue to push forward in the mid lane. They're looking for the inhibitor tower. Artifact looking to drop down some damage onto B, but not enough as GAM now look towards the inhibitor, and they will be able to secure it. And after that, they back away, but no, never mind. They didn't quite get the inhibitor, and Style had to step forward for an auto. Sonic Wave landed, but Team Secret will not bite the bullet.
Set up from Team Secret, but the plays just sort of came a little bit disjointed, and it does result in a nice inhibitor for the side of GAM, and they can utilize this pressure, make sure that they can set up these fights around objectives a little bit better in the future. It's a couple of minutes away till the next one. Penguin's just kind of looking to be a nuisance, steal a small chicken, doesn't find the back, Mountain Rift MVP right there. But now he's run into Levi. Does not have the backup to really want to push this Penguin.
Penguin laughs the loudest at the end. It's just what penguins do. Have you ever seen a penguin in real life, Marby? They're pesky, pesky creatures. I
have seen many penguins in real life.
Hero.
In Australia.
I think Hero's dead. Yeah, Kia just has to jump on top of him, and down goes Hero. In fairness, Hero got a tower, so it wasn't nothing gained.
That's a tower. Overall, it's fine. It's completely it's timed well enough that you don't really lose too much on the map, provided someone can get down to this top lane tower and make sure it doesn't become a liability. But no, the minion wave isn't there, so Overall, yeah, look, it's a bit silly, but I think get gold positive for Team Secret. It doesn't really make a huge difference. It's just, if you're going to do it, there's your time. Still has a minute to deploy onto the map to hit Baron. Make sure that is not on the cards for GAM. But this bot lane is under siege, and Team Secret just slow to react. Artifacts here, but he can't clear the way fast enough for Kiai to just do a lot of damage. And Kiai is very comfortable pushing up with his back pocket Levi.
Now, call me a broken record player, Marby, but I want to bring up the scaling again, and I'm going to pose it with a question. Do Team Secret take the next Drake because it would mean that there would then be an Elder in 5 minutes? Do they let GAM take the Drake to buy themselves more time to scale for that potential Elder fight?
How much gold can Team Secret find off of that? If they can set it up, let's not die, hero.
1v1! Death battle! Commence! Never mind, no one's gonna die. Hero is ignited. Zhu Hao on the way. Realm Warp coming through. Artifact once the kill. Not gonna be able to land the Everfrost, and too far away is Carty for the Overload to land. But now Kiai goes on top of the rise. The phase rush is gonna give Artifact movement speed, and he says, hey, I'll look towards a set. And he picks up the kill, and it's just one kill going the way of a Team Secret. And now GAM forced to retreat. Baron up on the cards, and maybe Team Secret could look to force a 5v4 fight.
Yeah, very nice kick out of Penguins, keeping B in the air so he can't actually activate that W and put the massive shield up and maybe make something happen. But overall, it looks like it was going to be an absolute series of disasters for Hero, Team Secret. As it starts off well, they do a lot of damage to Cardi, but then poor Artifact, he just can't find it. He goes so deep trying to find it, misses the Everfrost. Out of vision to land the W, and then it looks like it is going to be bad, but he's able to get to his team. They can't quite follow up on him, and B, he's fast, which means he can get out of position even quicker. As now Team Secret, they're on the map. They are more than happy to, I think, trade this Baron for the Dragon 100%, which is why they're up here. Can Levi get in?
Oh, Levi steals it away. The death touch comes through, and Levi is kicked out of the pit. That's actually going to keep him alive, but he Heartbreaker's back in. He steals away Zhu Hao's. A Featherstorm dropped in the midst of the fight and is going GAM's way. Not a single member has fallen. And Team Secret, they overextend. They get punished. And just like that, GAM are teleporting to the minion wave, and GAM are pushing into the base. Can you believe it, Bobby? Team Secret was so close. They looked like they were the stronger team. They look like they were winning fights, but once again, GAM say no, you do not. They take down the Nexus Towers, and they will take game 1 over Team Secret.